Morning, folks. Welcome to the, not July 5th anymore, but September 5th Zoning Board of Adjustment meeting. Much like Ron Burgundy, if you put words in front of me, I just read them usually. If any member of the audience wishes to speak to an item on the Zoning Board of Adjustment meeting agenda today, there are speaker request forms over on the left side of the room. Please fill out the request with the agenda number of the item you wish to speak to and hand it to the secretary. At this time, we would also like to ask that if any member of the audience has a cell phone or other electronic device, that you either turn it off or turn the ringer to silent. If you need to take a call, please step out to the hallway so the meeting is not disrupted. Public hearing on item number 1, the August 8th, 2024 Zoning Board of Adjustment meeting minutes is hereby opened.
Motion to approve.
All right, Vince made the motion to approve those meeting minutes, and Haven seconded that motion. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 2.
Good morning, Chair, Planning Commission. Cassie Hayes, current planner with Community Development. Item number 2 before you is a variance to allow existing gravel surfacing of a parking area in lieu of pavement. This project should look familiar to you. We just approved a conditional use permit on this property at the August 8th, 2024 Planning Commission meeting. This property is located off of Elm Avenue, just north of the intersection of Elm Avenue and St. Patrick Street. Property is currently zoned neighborhood commercial with a future land use designation of mixed use commercial. And as I said, access to that property is off of Elm Avenue, which takes access off of East St. Patrick Street, which is a principal arterial street. What they are doing on this property, if you recall, is they are operating a recreational vehicle rental company called Fireside RV Rental to provide rental management services for a maximum of 20 RV and camper units. Most of these rental units are going to be kept within an existing fenced parking area, which is approximately 8,000 square feet in size, and it's currently surfaced with gravel. You can see it here. It's outlined in red here on your screen. So this area is currently gravel surfaced. That is the primary area where they are going to be parking those RV camper units that are for rent. They are going to utilize the existing building and the entire parking lot on the property. This front portion of the parking lot is all paved. This is approximately 10,000 square feet in size. And as I said, that gravel parking area is about 8,000 square feet in size. This use that they're doing does fall within the code under new, used, and rental car sales within the neighborhood commercial district. There is a caveat within the code that says that all such facilities like that do have to have paved parking. In addition, there is also a part within the code that says that all off-street parking areas must be paved and maintained so as to eliminate dust or mud. That gravel parking area, with it being about 8,000 square feet, does occupy about 38% of this property. And like I said, it is the main location for the parking and displaying of those RV and camper units for rent. It is important to note with this one that this is not an industrial area or adjacent to any sort of industrial area. This area is a little bit unique where it is a mixture of both commercial and residential development, and there is a residential development directly west of this property on the other side of Elm Avenue. And the purpose and intent of those hard surfacing requirements is really to provide a durable surface for parking, loading, circulation, and to mitigate the adverse impacts on the neighborhood. So with this being something that falls in the same realm as like new, used, and rental car sales, there is predominantly within this area that paved parking in the commercial sectors of this entire corridor. So in order to maintain that development standard within the area and minimize the impact on the neighboring residential development, staff does feel that that parking area does need to be paved. So this that you're looking at right now, this is directly looking at the paved parking area off of Elm Avenue. And then here, this is that rear parking area that is currently gravel surfaced. As you can see, it does have a chain link fence surrounding it, and there are gates as well, so this is gated access. This is looking at it from a different angle. And a little bit above that fence that kind of shows that entire area as being a gravel surface. And here again, a little bit closer shot. So ultimately, staff is recommending denial of this variance request to allow existing gravel surfacing of a parking area based on a few criteria: that there are no special circumstances or conditions that pertain to this lot, which would warrant approval of the variance. Reasonable use of the land does exist without granting the variance, as the graveled area can be paved, even though it historically has not been paved. That should not factor into this. This variance request does not appear to be the minimum adjustment necessary for reasonable use of the land, as they do have that conditional use permit approved. So they can pave this parking area and still continue with that RV rental company. And then the area being a mixture of commercial and residential development, staff does see that we need to maintain that development standard within this area and minimize the impact on the neighboring properties. So this area should be paved for the proposed use that they're requesting. And then the requested variance is not in harmony with the general purpose and intent of the Rapid City Municipal Code. With that, I will stand for any questions. The applicant and the agent are also in the audience today if you have any questions.
Thank you. Eric Heikus.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Could we see that zoning land use map again?
Absolutely.
So we're neighborhood commercial adjacent to general commercial with medium to, okay. Is there a buffering requirement in addition to the, is there a buffering requirement because of the adjacency of the two different types of zoning lot adjacent to general commercial? Excuse me, I'm a little tongue-tied this morning.
Vicki?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So there isn't a screening or buffering requirement in neighborhood commercial.
Okay.
If it were on a general commercial property, then any lot line that abutted a residential district would require that it have a 6-foot opaque screening fence.
Okay. That answers my question. Thank you.
All right, other questions on this item? Haven?
I just would like some clarification. I think I know the answer, but if we approve this, then that approval would last the entire time that this business was carried on. And if it changed, new owner or different business, then this would be back before us. Is that right?
Vicki?
Mr. Chair, if the Zoning Board of Adjustment granted a variance to allow for a gravel surface for storage of vehicles, and a new owner came in and they wanted to use the property in a similar fashion, that variance would go with the property. You don't grant the variance to the applicant, you grant it to the property.
All right. Other comments from the commissioners?
No, I'll make a motion.
Okay.
I concur with staff's recommendations to deny it.
All right. Vince made the motion to deny the variance to allow gravel surfacing. Is there a second? Eric Heikus seconded that motion.
And I'd like to enter reasoning. Because of there's no special circumstance or conditions pertaining to the lot which would warrant approval by the variance, and reasonable use of the land exists without granting the variance.
Okay. Were you able to pick that up? Okay, got it. And that works with the second? Okay. Haven, comments on the motion? Sorry, I got to get your mic on.
Thank you. I'm going to vote against the motion. I really do think that for the purposes of the business and the owner, it would be better that it would be paved. I think that would enhance the lot and the business. But I think there's, with all the issues here, I think there's there's a reason to approve this request.
All right, thanks, Haven. I'll just make a quick comment. I'm going to be voting for the denial of this variance. I, in the past, have supported many of these, but in industrial areas, in areas that have a much further boundary to residential, this one's just too close for comfort for me personally. Vicky?
So we appreciate that there's a cost associated with paving this storage area. And this is a small company. They're trying to bring a reasonable use to this property. We just looking at the criteria for a variance, cost can't be factored into it. There's nothing preventing them from paving it. But we could certainly work with the applicants that if it is the decision of the Zoning Board of Adjustment to deny the request and require pavement, giving them one pavement season so that they can stand up their use on a temporary basis to create some revenue in order to help cover the cost of paving the parking area.
Personally, I'm always open to things like that. Can I ask, is that something that the zoning board would need to act on, or is that something that community development would act on?
We currently do that on a regular basis, both for landscaping and parking. Our pavement, if we can issue a temporary CO to get them into the site and using it, and then within one season of pavement, then they would need to finish that. And by season, when the asphalt plant shut down next year, it would have to be paved.
Okay. Kelly?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. That's good to hear. I appreciate that. And I mean, I agree with Eric. Nobody likes to throw cold water on a small business startup, obviously, but for this use and intent, I think it is right to be paved. So that's it's a cost, it's an impact for sure. So that would be a really good option, is to delay that for one season. So I'll also vote to deny the request.
Haven?
When we say paving, I assume that could be either asphalt or concrete. Is it, or some kind of a hard surface? How do you define paving?
Mr. Chair,
Vicky?
we could defer to the city engineer, Roger Hall.
Roger?
Well, good morning.
Morning.
Typically in this situation, it can be either concrete or asphalt. Is that your question, Haven? I'm trying to...
And then, well, like a chip seal, is that something that would comply?
Not typically. Chip seal is usually a maintenance of a paved surface. It's not necessarily a permanent paving solution. It doesn't have the structural strength of a normal asphalt or concrete paving.
All right.
For clarification
Vicky?
on that, so asphalt millings would require a variance as well.
Okay, so the motion on the floor is to deny this variance. Are there further comments on the motion? Questions? All those in favor of the motion to deny, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Aye. Okay. The variance is denied with Haven voting against that. That's our last item on Zoning Board of Adjustment. I'd look for a motion to adjourn Zoning Board of Adjustment so we can move to Planning Commission.
Motion to adjourn?
Vince made the motion, and Mike seconded it. Yeah, Alicia, she got it. She was louder at least. So Alicia seconded that motion. All those in favor of adjournment, please say aye. Aye. We will now commence the Rapid City Planning Commission meeting for September 5th, 2024. Again, if anyone wishes to speak to an item on the Planning Commission agenda, you can grab a speaker request form along the wall and fill it out and hand it to the staff over there, and we'll make sure we recognize you. And if you haven't silenced your cell phone or other electronic device, please do so now. Items 1 through 3 have been placed on the consent calendar today and may be approved as a group. Action will be taken on all consent items in accordance with staff's recommendation by a single vote. Any item may be removed from the consent calendar by any planning commissioner, staff member, or audience member for separate consideration at this time. The findings of this planning commission are recommendations to the city council. The city council will make the final decision. Are there any items 1 through 3 that staff would like removed today?
No, thank you.
Are there any items 1 through 3 that any planning commissioner would like removed for separate consideration? Then are there any items 1 through 3 that any audience member would like removed for separate consideration? The chair would then entertain a motion to approve consent calendar items 1 through 3 in accordance with staff's recommendation.
Motion to approve items 1 through 3 in accordance with the staff's recommendations.
Thanks, Vince. Made the motion to approve those. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, Mike Gallagher made the second. Any discussion on the motion to approve? Vicky, did you have something, or I still have a light up? Okay. All right, all those in favor of approval of the consent calendar, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 4.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Item number 4, 24 UR 015, is a conditional use permit to allow a group home located at 4080 Tower Road. This is an application that has been submitted from Cornerstone Rescue Mission in conjunction with Monument Hospital. The applicant has withdrawn this application. We are of the understanding that based on the amount of public comment that we have received since advertising this in opposition, they are going to work on their operational plan to try and address those comments, potentially hold a neighborhood meeting. That's not required, but they've indicated that they're going to work towards that. And then at some point, they will resubmit. Many of the people in the audience today are here to ensure that the Planning Commission does acknowledge the applicant's withdrawal. When a new application is submitted, we'll send out the same notification and posting of sign requirement that currently exists. Those that have emailed us, we will be emailing them the routing to ensure that they're aware of what's going on. We do appreciate the neighborhood participation. Best laid plans are when we all have a voice and we work together. So our recommendation is that you acknowledge the applicant's withdrawal today.
Thank you, Vicky.
I'll move that we acknowledge the withdrawal of this application.
All right. Haven made the motion to acknowledge the withdrawal. Is there a second? Kelly seconded that motion. And just for clarification, since we do have a good audience here, this stops, if this motion to acknowledge the withdrawal is approved, it stops here. It doesn't go to city council at this point, correct?
The application no longer exists. It has been withdrawn.
Gotcha. All right. Just trying to make that very clear. Vince? Sorry. You're on. No?
Oh, thank you, Chair. I just want to make sure that if you're here today for that item and you have concern, please stay concerned. And again, thank you for showing up.
All right. All those in favor of acknowledging the withdrawal of item number 4, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 5.
Chair, Commission, good morning. This is going to be application 24 UR 016. And it's a conditional use permit to allow on-sale liquor establishment in conjunction with a restaurant on the property located at 544 Century Road. It's within suites 101 and 102. This should actually look like a familiar area. We were just talking about this with the adult daycare center last planning commission meeting, so if that orients you. So the site's 2.19 acres. It has one of those multi-tenant commercial buildings on site. There's 9 suites in this building. The restaurant will occupy 2 of them. One is occupied by a retail store, 3 by a dentist, and 1 on the end is a pottery studio, and 2 of them are vacant. So this property is adjacent to East North Street, so the kind of northwest there. Surrounding uses, there's a drive-in restaurant, the Sonic, to the west. We've got a childcare facility to the northeast. I'll make note of that in how it is kind of distanced by topography from the restaurant that's proposing on sale. There's some undeveloped properties to the south and east there. So the childcare facility is at a much lower elevation, and we'll see it when we get to the kind of pictures section. From the proposed restaurant, the entrance and the parking area face away from each other, actually on both ends, and there's very limited visibility between the two because of the landscaping as well. So there is sufficient buffering between those 2 uses, so there should not be an issue in that regard. The area is, and the surrounding parcels are zone general commercial. The restaurant use is a permitted use in the zone. On sale is what requires the conditional use permit in this case. Future land use, also mixed use commercial, which is consistent with the general commercial zoning and proposed use. This property takes access off of Century Road, and then Century Road leads to both East North Street and North Creek Drive, which kind of feed into East Anamosa, and then there's also Campbell to the west there. So there's quite a bit of connection. Century Road is a commercial street, so this area is well suited for the type of use that is proposed. There's also sidewalks on East North Street and in front of this business on Century Road. The vacant properties haven't developed yet. It's assumed that they would likely also continue that sidewalk throughout that area. So there are some pedestrian facilities as well. I'll note the landscaping is adequate. This is I think it was built around 2017, 18. I did go confirm that all the landscaping's there. It's matured a bit, and they're meeting their landscaping points. For the parking, when this building was originally built, it was parked at the retail office rate of 5 spaces per 1,000 gross square feet of building area. Even in the notes, we did note, if a restaurant came in here, there would not be adequate parking, and that is the case today. So there's 79 parking spaces with the restaurant calculation of 11 required spaces per 1,000 gross square feet. We're at 96. We did grant an administrative exception for the parking, particularly because the hours of operation between all of the uses in this building are very different. I've also been to this site quite a bit in recent times at very different times of day, even lunchtime and closer to the evenings. This parking lot is not very used at this point. So there is a stipulation in the report to address that if another use comes in, or even there's 2 suites empty in this building, so if we have occupancy in those and we're looking at them, we're also considering those hours of operation and making sure that they mesh well with the proposed and existing uses in that building. So there is a stipulation regarding that. So we'll keep an eye on it if parking does become a problem in that area, but it is not anticipated with this use at this time. Let's go to the proposed site plan. So the applicant is proposing to sell beer, wine, and wine cocktails. Hours of operation Tuesday through Friday from 4 to 9 p.m. Again, that's a very vastly different time difference than you're going to see for like a dentist's office, which is also in that building. Saturday and Sunday, they have a brunch service from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. and then a dinner from 4 p.m. to 10 p.m. Alcohol will be stored in a designated storage area. Here you can kind of see there is a bar area on the left side of the building, and then they'll also be serving to the seating areas as shown on the floor plan. This is the front of the 2 suites there. They are on kind of that northwestern side of the building on the left-hand side. Here's just a visual of what the other suites look like as well. This is looking from the opposite side where are we? looking northwest, we're looking toward East North Street and that Sonic Drive-In. No, this was around, I want to say, I think I was there somewhere around 1:30 and 2 p.m. So if you can kind of see with the parking situation, there actually is more kind of, people will kind of drive in, stop and wait, maybe eat their food from the drive-in restaurant. There's not a lot of activity in that parking area. This is from right next to where the restaurant will be, looking into the parking area. This is looking on behind where the restaurant is. I want to say this is kind of the east, northeast. That's that childcare center that I mentioned. That red roof line is all you can see from this area. So there's not anticipated effect on that childcare center. This is looking to more the east southeast. There are some residential in this area as well. Again, we have the same situation with that topography change as well as the landscaping. There's a line of trees that are along the backside of this building as well that serve for buffering. I also wanted to show you, this is looking at the child care center so you can see what they see toward the back there. There's a lot of landscaping in the way of even that corner where the entrance and the parking area are. So that is all that I have for you. I'll stand for any questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions from the commission? Eric Heikus.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think it's a very pragmatic solution on the parking and also very practical. So an administrative exception was given on the quantity, is that correct?
Correct. It was less than 20% of the
Okay.
standard, so we
Sure.
were able to do it administratively prior to this meeting.
Just out of curiosity, is there a difference between that? I guess there is, but could you explain the difference between that and a shared use agreement between the tenants?
Right, so the parking rate is for the entire building on that entire, so that's what we look at for the parking requirement, and there's no adjacent parking where they could share.
Thank you.
Yes,
Compliments.
thank you.
All right. Excuse me. Sorry, struggling with my voice today. Anything else on this item from the commission? Motion, perhaps?
Motion to approve
All right. Vince made the motion to approve with the stipulation.
with the stipulations.
Is there a second to that motion? Haven seconded that motion. Any discussion on the motion to approve? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 6.
Thank you. So item number 6 is 24 UR 017. It is a major amendment to a conditional use permit to expand on-sale liquor. So this is in conjunction with the Doll Arts Center. And currently the Doll has a CUP for on-sale liquor that is specific to events at this site. The Rapid City Arts Council is actually planning to turn a grass area kind of on this corner by Quincy, just in the southwest corner of the site, into a pocket park, and they want to also host events in there and be able to serve on sale as well. And their on sale is limited to wine and malt beverages. So within that, since the existing conditional use permit is just addressing the Arts Center, since they are expanding into a new area within a pocket park, that's the expansion to the on sale limits, since it wasn't in the original operations plan. So that's why we are here today. This property is zoned Central Business District. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Sorry, I'm thinking of the future land use. I got confused for a second. Central Business District in the downtown area. The Art Center use is a permitted use within the zone. The on sale is why we're here today for the conditional use permit. So it is, the future land use here is public, quasi-public. It is a city-owned building. Surrounding it, you have the downtown future land use and an urban neighborhood kind of kitty corner here. So the use and the different uses surrounding it are very consistent with what is planned for this area. The Doll's located, the front entrance is on 7th Street. It's kind of sandwiched between Kansas City Street and Quincy Street. The proposed pocket park will be off of Quincy Street, but the entrance will be through the main building that enters off of 7th. So just to be clear on that. So the applicant currently provides beer and wine for on-premises consumption at events. They're typically in the evening and may last up until midnight. That's from their original operations plan. There's no proposed change to that operations plan. All staff handle alcohol, complete a state-approved alcohol server training. Service is provided from temporary bars that are set up in the event space, and alcohol is stored in a locked unit with secure employee-only access. So the same protocols are expected to be used in the Pocket Park area that's shown here, so you can kind of tell where it is in conjunction with the rest of the Arts Center. Here is just a conceptual plan of the Pocket Park area. So they've got various landscaping. There's a birch tree grove, proposed rain garden, lots of native plants and grasses, some hardscaping areas. So there will be a 6-foot high decorative fence along the edge of it, and they'll have controlled access to that. Like I mentioned, the entrance point will actually be from the galleries. So they're hoping with this, we'll have an assembly area, outdoor sculpture garden, presentation stage, and projection screen. That's the ideas at this point for what to include in that area. And they're hoping to increase the amount of events that would be held and people coming to see the area as well, just visitors in general. So the controlled entrance and the fence provide security for, for serving on sale in this area. And then the landscaping also provides kind of a natural buffer in this case between the park and the adjacent uses. There's also kind of a line of trees along the street there as well, so there's some nice shade. This is looking at where that entrance would be. So we are looking more northeast at this point. This is the grass area that we're talking about for the proposed Pocket Park. And looking at the other side, you can see the adjacent building here as well. And those trees that I mentioned, there's a rather large sidewalk here. Now we are at 7th Street looking down Quincy toward the proposed Pocket Park. And we're gonna look across the street. There are a couple churches in this area. They're actually historic properties as well. The central business district is that zoning district where we expect a higher concentration of different types of uses, including on sale in conjunction with some other businesses. We don't feel that there's going to be any negative impact to the surrounding area. And they already operate this internally. And again, mentioning the buffering and things that are like the fence and the landscaping that will help with that use being outside adjacent to these other uses. This is looking from the park area down Quincy towards 7th Street. You can kind of see the library there on the left-hand side. So the current, where am I? The current stipulation for on sale to be limited to events and sell only wine and malt beverages is included in this staff report as well. So that will be maintained. Every other part of their operations plan from the original CUP would be maintained as well. The applicant also is prepared to provide additional renderings that we didn't have in time for this, if the commission is interested in seeing them. Thank you.
Thank you. Eric Heikes?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I will be abstaining from voting on this item as I'm involved with it. I'm going to recluse myself from sitting up here and go out and sit in the audience.
All right.
So,
Thank you. Vicky?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So when Jackie Dietrich first walked in and sat down with us and unveiled this plan, I can't begin to tell you how excited we all were to see a project and scope of this nature in our downtown core. This is something that will truly enhance not only those that are coming to enjoy the doll, but all of those other businesses around the area. It will just be such a visual aesthetic improvement. Whether there be a musical event out in the park, beer and wine being served, perhaps an art display, artists coming in, doing children's fairs. We started pinging ideas back and forth, and I don't know that Jackie could even keep up with us, but another great opportunity for those of us in our community to go downtown, sit and embrace the beauty of this area. And so we certainly hope that you support us on approving the conditional use permit to expand. I think the wrought iron fence that is enclosing it will keep anyone from entering it that shouldn't, and it will allow them to continue to provide the great security that they provide to ensure that only those that should have a drink in their hand has a drink in their hand. Thank you.
Thanks, Vicki. I do have a speaker request from Jackie. If you'd like to come up, just identify yourself at the microphone before as you start.
Do you want, you can come here.
I'm doing my best to keep up, Vicki. Thank you so much. We just simply wanted to say thank you so much for your consideration. I'm Jackie Dietrich, the Executive Director of the Rapid City Arts Council, here with a number of our board meetings this morning, and this is just such an important project for us to think about how we enhance the facility, increase community use, but also the financial sustainability of the doll itself. So thank you again for your consideration, and we hope we can invite you to the grand opening.
Thank you. Haven?
Yeah, thank you, Jackie. I've been to several events at the Doll, and I think this is a great project. Just for my clarification, you use the term pocket park. Is that defined in one of our ordinances?
No, it's a typical planning term where it's not a extensive park. It's kind of tucked away and it's very specific and small and has its own amenities. Yeah, it's a general term, not defined in our code.
Another, just to clarify, Mr. Chair, if I might,
Yeah.
pocket park typically is one that would be open to the public in a residential area. This is more of an outdoor patio. It's just within the boundaries of the property itself.
Alicia?
Thank you. I have a quick question. I'm wondering, will it be open to the public with that secured entrance on the south when there's not alcohol being served, or is it mainly for the art center itself?
Jackie?
The Doll Art Center is currently open Monday through Saturday from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m., and it's always free admission. It would be accessible only through the front door of the Doll, and the intended purpose of that fence with the gate would basically be for emergency purposes only.
Okay. Thank you.
Vince?
Thank you, Chair. Actually, I was having questions about the fence, and so you answered most of them. Wrought iron, 6 foot high. Oh, obviously, this is what I was looking for. All right. Thanks, Eric. All right.
We have a few if you want to.
I think there's another image that shows where the gate has been included. But
Essentially, it'll be,
And
just point out it'll be where that spot is.
where the opening is indicated here on this rendering, that would actually be a mechanically controlled gate that would be controlled from the inside.
that was the last
Okay.
question. Thank you.
Pat Roseland?
Thank you, Chair. Could I hear from Eric on the genesis of this park and why it is important to him?
No pressure, Eric. And identify yourself once you're at the microphone.
Well, if it pleases the Planning Commission, I'd be happy to do that. You're going to make me cry, though, Pat. Okay. So, my mother passed 6 or 7 years ago. She was a profound artist and a huge member of this community. She was a curator here at one time at the Doll. She was a tapestry artist. She loved birch trees. She also was really great part of the lives of many people. And the genesis of this is a memorial garden for her. She liked to do messy art. When I mean messy art, she boiled stuff and she dyed plants. She did raku pottery. She did stuff that really wasn't appropriate inside because it made a big mess, right? So one of the ideas she always had was, let's do messy art outside, and when it's nice outside, let's do messy art out there where it doesn't make such a big mess. So I don't know if anyone has ever seen raku pottery, being done, but it's quite a process, and it's a messy process. So, and then, you know, my involvement as a board member, I wanted to give something to the board in perpetuity that would enhance the Rapid City Arts Council too. So plus, this is my gift, which is landscape architecture. I got to share this with the board, which means a lot to me. And we've learned a lot in Rapid City about highly programmed space being successful, Main Street Square being one example. Having lots of events and the flexibility to have different types of events and gatherings in the space really promotes the success of a facility. So one day they're going to have a small group of maybe a string quartet playing out here and cocktails. The next they might have a small wedding. The next weekend there may be face painting. This is a stage where they'll have the ability to do a production out there that is a rewarding part of the experience of the Rapid City Arts Council's mission, which I think is so important to our community. So let's not forget the arts in this growth of our city. Thank you. I didn't cry bad. Thank you. Appreciate that. Does that answer your question? My mother's name was Greta Bulegor. This is hopefully a memorial to Greta Bulegor. And then a big part of the doll's vision for the coming 10 years or more. So thank you.
Thanks for sharing, Eric. Tough to follow that up, but any other questions or comments on item number 6? All right. Mike Gallagher made the motion to approve item 6, and Vince seconded that motion. Any discussion on the motion to approve? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed?
All Arts Center on October 24th and 25th. On the 24th, it'll be from 4 to 7, September 24th and 25th. Thank you. 4 to 7:30, and on the 25th from 12 to 2, and again from 4 to 7:30. And we're really staging this as a family event. Root beer float, social, family-friendly. We'll have different interactive games that the public can participate in to show us where they see the vision of the city going. We have found that instead of highlighting this as come share your ideas on the comp plan, instead come join us at the fun and exciting place called The Doll, have a root beer float, enjoy some community togetherness, have some fun with some games. And while you're here, by the way, can you tell us what you think about the needs and wants of the city? So if you have an opportunity, we really encourage you to come and be a part of this, share your ideas as well, but truly show the community that we're all working together on making sure that all of our ideas and visions are captured in this next update.
All right, I added it to my calendar. I hope everyone did the same.
If I can get the dates and times again.
September 24th and 25th, 4 to 7 on the 24th, 12 to 2, and 4 to 7 on the 25th.
7:30. And it's not like it's
Okay.
a staged event. It's just come in, come out. There'll be different booths, interactive activities. Stay as long as you want.
All right. Chip.
Good morning. I'm just trying to give the boards a heads up on, we're working on updating the fire code to the 2024. It's at the infant stage. Currently, just giving you the progress, you'll be getting the proposed amendments of what we went through, deleted, amended out of the 2024 code. Working with the Black Hills Home Builders. We probably email it out to probably 600 recipients just to review it. I didn't give it to any board members yet because I'm getting comments back, some really good comments, and I appreciate that, on changes that, certain engineering firms and things that they thought we should amend the code to help out. Spent many hours at conferences and stuff, considering cost assessments on some of the updated codes, and I'll explain all that. But you'll be getting a email version of it, so you can go through it. And to the public too, I'd like, if you haven't received it yet, I'm attempting to get it, so everybody, I need your input. It's a community effort, so I just want to let you know that we're moving forward. We're currently 21 years ago is what the code is. We're at right now 2003. So, and part of the reasons for the amendments was, updating the code is technology's changed, and the process as far as manufacturing and we need to come up to date, because a lot of the designers and stuff, they don't even have a 2003 digital fire code. So we're working through it and looking for everybody's input. So it'll be coming out to you pretty soon. We're kind of waiting for the council to get through the budget process, and because their hands are full, they're busy, and then we'll go from there.
All right, thank you. Appreciate it. Vince?
Thank you, Chair. I got a question, and it's about quorums, and not because we have 3 city council members here today, but what are the rules regarding quorums for both us and that city council?
So since you are not elected, there is no quorum restriction on you. You can all show up at all the events at the same time. But on elected officials, only 5 of them can be present in a room unless it's been advertised and posted as a public open meeting. And they're really good. If 6 of them show up at a ribbon cutting, we usually have those advertised. It's good. But we'll advertise this one too. So if all 10 councils show up at our event in September, we're good to go. But if there were an event like this morning, if they were to show up, only 5 of them could stay in the room at a time.
Yeah, I just wanted to clarify that because I'm glad they're here. Thank you for being here. So,
Eric Hikas?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So I'm going to say something a little metaphysical, so just warning you. So on my path to enlightenment, I take a footnote every once in a while, and today, I'm taking one. Vicki, you said something profound today, and I think it's really important. I'm starting to realize how important the wisdom that you bring is to our community. You said it's important that everyone has a voice, and that we work together. So I can't tell you how much that really embodies the work that we all do, and that we're trying to strive toward a common goal. And so I'm going to put that in my life notes book, maybe even a quote from Vicki. So I thought that was really excellent what you said. Yeah.
Thanks, Eric. Haven?
I had a question on the September 24 and 25. Is that a community development event, or are there other departments in the city that are involved?
Vicki?
This is actually being hosted by Logan Simpson, the consulting firm that the city has hired to do the update. We will have staff from community development there to participate in the event, man some of the participation booths, but this is actually a consulting project that they're doing as a part of updating the comprehensive plan.
All right, thank you. Anything else from the commission? All right, Mike Allher made the motion to adjourn. Vince seconded that. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Yeah, good job.